Folks, welcome to another. Wait, am I muted? Oh no, we're good. Okay, welcome to another masterclass. I got things telling me I'm muted, but I'm really not. They're putting me on the edge today. But hey, it's great to see all of y'all again. Super excited to have y'all join us for what's going to be a really incredible masterclass. I think you guys saw who the speaker is. None other than Terri Ross. She is the best. But while we wait for everyone to get here, I want to take a little bit of time to make some announcements for RepeatMD. So real quick, let's see. Let me share my screen, folks. There we go. So before we bring Terri out here, guys, I just want to make sure that we tell you about this amazing event that is coming up for RepeatMD and for you guys to join us on. So we're going to be hosting our biggest event ever. Of the year, really ever. But today is the first day you can register. So our registration just went live today. It's called the Sell More This Holiday Season. So it's going to be happening Tuesday, October 21st at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Time. On this webinar, the Sell More This Holiday Season webinar, you guys are going to learn how to avoid the 5 profit killers that destroy holiday revenue. We're going to show you how to turn gift cards and skincare into your #1 revenue driver. We're going to steal the top holiday promos that print money fast. And then we're going to double up your membership sales in 30 days, right? That's a lot of stuff. That's big, right? So on top of that, just so a little backstory here for you guys, the big reveal, after 2 years and $20 million that, RepeatMD that we spent, we're finally revealing this big secret project that we've been working on. We're so excited about. It's RepeatMD V3. It's the first system built to automate y'all's revenue so that way you guys can sell more without doing more, right? That's our goal here. And every single person who shows up live, well, not only do you get all that great information that we just spoke about, but you guys are going to get entered to win $100,000 in cash plus, but wait, there's more, plus $50,000 in surprise bonuses, right? So if that all sounds amazing to you guys, and let's be honest, I mean, it should. Scan that QR code on your screen right there so that way you can register. And then I'm going to see you guys on October 21st. And also, let me go ahead and if you guys can't scan that right now for whatever reason, I'm going to put the link in the chat. So look on the right-hand side, and you're going to see the chat, and you can click on that link to register there as well. So I'm going to give y'all a second to do that. So guys, scan that QR code, register, RSVP. Spots are limited. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. But while you guys are typing all your information in there, let's go ahead and get started. So guys, bringing up on stage now, I want y'all to meet Terri Ross. A lot of y'all are probably familiar with Terri Ross, but she's founder and CEO of Terri Ross Consulting. She's done literally everything in this industry. My God, she's an author for 5 aesthetic publications. She's a Galderma GAIN business trainer, consultant and keynote speaker for Skin Better, international speaker in over 20 plus aesthetic society conferences, featured on the cover of Top Doctor magazine. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Terri, come out on stage. Let's grace these folks with your presence.
Love you. Thanks, Jeremy. God, it makes me sound like I'm 80. Thank God we're like in this aesthetic or this aesthetic space. So, well, thank you so much, Jeremy. You guys are putting on exciting stuff. I've been friends with Phil for a really long time. So thank you so much for hosting this event. And on a topic that is really critical right now. So congratulations to you for all the evolution that RepeatMD has made. Look at giving away pink ponies and pink Porsches and 100 grand. I'm down for that too. So I'm going to go ahead, you guys, and get started and share my screen.
Take it over. Y'all have fun.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Terri.
All right, you guys, bear with me. I want to make sure we can see everything. All right, guys, thank you so much. It's 1:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in California. I've been teaching all morning, but I was really excited for this webinar today. So you guys know that I always say this. You guys are my why. You're the reason I do what I do and show up for you guys every single day or what I'm doing in my life. So thank you for showing up for me. So if you've registered, whether you're attending live or you're going to go back and watch the replay, your commitment to your craft, your business, your team, your sales, your business is, again, what motivates me, because these webinars, you guys, and the information, it's not just because we all don't have anything to do. This is a really substantial topic. So we're going to dive into strategic planning for 2026. And this, I hope we can just take a second and take this very seriously, because there are two types of people, okay? There are people that are happy with status quo, happy maybe with mediocrity, maybe want more, but there's always the would've, should've, can't, won't, not enough time, too expensive, wait for the next thing, okay? Or we are lifelong learners. We're movers and shakers in the space. We've made a decision as an entrepreneur, as an owner, as a provider, as a private equity group, whatever you are, to say, you know what, I have chosen to be in aesthetics, which means I have got to elevate my craft, which means I have got to be the top 1% ready for an exit at whatever strategy that is and that time that it is. And so today, you guys, I'm really passionate about this topic, to dive in about what you can do now that will make an exponential impact moving forward into 2026. Thank you, Jeremy, for the amazing introduction. Many of you guys have followed me for a long time. Like, I've been in this space over 20 years, and I'm very humbled to say that I've walked the walk. I've talked the talk. I've spent 16 years in Fortune 500. I was with Medicis. I was with Zeltique. I've done the capital. I've done the sales. I've led teams. I had a med spa myself with surgeons in Beverly Hills. I scaled it and I sold it. And now I teach my sales training course. And you guys have supported me for so long. So thank you so much for this opportunity to allow me to give back. And I know it's a little hokey pokey, but shut your eyes for a second. Truly, like, let's take a minute and shut our eyes, because I know you guys are seeing patients today. You have a busy week. There's conferences all the time. But if we don't just take a moment to really say, you know, what is my purpose and what is my why? Why do you wake up every day? Why do you do what you do? And it can't be just about showing up. Yes, we want to treat patients if you're a provider, give good outcomes, but there is a business sense. What about your team? What about your managers? What about your patients? What is your legacy? You know, what is the legacy that you guys want for your practice? And whether it's to scale now or to scale later, that is what we have to be striving for. And so what is your 3, 2, 1? I'm going to do this so you can see my face, right? I don't know if you guys could see it before, but what's your 3, 2, 1? Meaning, what are 3 things that you can do, okay, that you want to learn from this presentation? Actually, I'm going to make it bigger, guys. Sorry, because it's hard for me to see the screen. What are 2 things that you can do in the next 30 days? And there's a book called The One Thing. And what is the one thing that you can do tomorrow based on this information I'm going to give you today that will have an exponential impact on your business? So let's set the stage. We all know that the industry is highly competitive. It is a commodity. There are 17% or higher of new practices opening up all the time. I'm so blessed. I have just came from Florida to train a private equity group, 150 people, plastics, derms, med spas. I did VO's training 2 weeks prior, a big franchise, 69 clinics. And, you know, I say this because when we think about the business of aesthetics, there are fundamental things that we can't ignore. And so if you want to, again, level up your business, understand the benchmarks, understand the KPIs, understand your financials, how to motivate your team, how to incentivize your team, we're going to go through those things today. But the practices that win are not based on feelings. They're based on training. They're based on data. They're based on using the tech like RepeatMD and the tools and the systems, right? So that you can have predictable outcomes and scalability. We're wrapping up September. That means we're ending Q3. And like I said, people are either going to, fail because we're falling short right now. And you guys, please be vulnerable. You guys know I'm a hell yes person all the time. But if we're not honest in a safe space, which I want you to have safe space to say, God, you know what? I'm not where I need to be. I don't have a budget. I don't have a forecast. I don't have revenue goals. Or maybe I'm thriving. But we shouldn't stop there. I always say Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, Serena Williams, athletes have coaches for a reason, not to teach them the game. But if there's a 1% to 2% shift in improvement, that's the leak, that's the hole, that's where we make exponential growth. So I want you guys to really be honest and say, shit, have I done these things? Or is it an area of opportunity? Because investing in your business is not a cost, it's not an expense, it is the greatest return. And so when we think about our business, 40% of the annual revenue, as you guys know, Q4 drives a ton of business because of the events and holiday promotions, which I hate that word, right? Treatment planning, but we're really focused on the holidays. But the next 90 days, now we have to really start planning now. So we're thinking about 2026. What is working today? What's not? Do you feel comfortable with your KPIs or are you unsure? Do you have a growth plan in place, whether that is equipment, technology, people, pricing, right? A new location? What is that? We have to be prepared going into next year. How can I not move forward here? Let's talk about the framework of what it takes you guys to run a successful business. We can't just look at revenue. We have to look at profitability, profit versus top line. How do we optimize our revenue potential? And that can mean a couple of different things. Again, looking at our pricing strategies, our efficiencies in the room or in the operating room, our productivity of our providers. Where are you guys at today? Revenue per hour. These are critical things that can have lended to our practices growing millions of dollars. Compensation and goals. Are they attainable? Are they achievable? Are they smart? Are you losing money on your comp plans? Right? And we'll go through that today. How are we acquiring patients, right? And then more importantly, retaining them. There's a cost of acquisition, but that cost is directly associated to training. So if we're acquiring patients, but they can't be converted, that's something for us to consider. Investing in your team, again, greatest return, your tech stack, and your market readiness. Let's talk about understanding profit. And you guys, I really want to say, again, with love, that I'm so blessed to lecture and teach all over the world. And even the practices that are doing 10 plus million. When I teach information around data and KPIs and training, even though they're doing well, a lot of times they're like, Terri, I didn't know these things, or I don't track these things, or my data and my software is not the set up the right way. And it's no fault, you guys, of anyone's. There are some thriving practices, but if I can help you break this down, or when you get off this call, I don't want it to even be copious notes. I want you to really be methodical and think where is the health of my business today? And if you've never had an audit of your business, this is an area and a time to do it, so we can find those growth opportunities, and then you can make the trajectory that you're looking for. So there's 3 types of profit: direct, gross, and net. I know it's a busy slide. Take a picture of it. It's really important you understand the difference, because when clients retain us for either consulting or training, or I have a gift for you at the end, my mentorship. But when we look at profit and loss statements, the structure of a P&L needs to be in a certain place. I'm going to show you an example of a case study. We have a client in Michigan who we just added $600,000 to her EBITDA. Okay, that's the bottom line profit. That's massive, you guys, just because we identified opportunities. But here's what I want you to focus on. Right? Are we meeting our profitability benchmarks, looking at cost of goods under 25% of service revenue and under 50 for products? Where are you guys at? Sometimes it's really high. We have to shift some of these numbers. We either need to make more money or reduce expenses. Gross profit, okay? We need to make sure that's revenue minus cost of sales and expenses. You guys, processing fees, all these things. We save clients a lot of money by making sure that these benchmarks are in alignment. And again, if it's out of whack. So if you don't know these things, I need you to be like, shit, Terri, I don't know. If you do know, now we can make informed decisions to change. Okay. So shouldn't exceed 50% of total revenue. Labor under 20%. This is when it gets inflated if compensation plans are wrong because we're paying too much money and they're not producing enough revenue. And then looking at our merchant processing fee. And again, the net overhead is fixed cost. Okay. It shouldn't exceed expenses and shouldn't exceed 30% of revenue, your overhead. Go take a look. That's accounting for, right, your operating expenses above EBITDA. So look at the success tip. I want you guys to go back, look at your 3 segmentations of profits and not just look at top line revenue. Let's talk about benchmarks. These are common pitfalls I see. Practices say, yes, Terri, I have goals. And I'm like, well, how did you develop the goals? And I hate to say it, you guys know I'm pretty candid. Sometimes it's just, making up numbers, bogus numbers that we're not really measuring current performance against benchmarks, or they're unrealistic targets. And this is where you guys, again, your ability to analyze data and make the data sexy allows you to feel more confident, competent, and you can make better decisions. And so again, where is your baseline today? So from January to August, what is your revenue? What is your percent to goal against your targets? What is your percent to goal against the KPIs? So what I want you to do, your action, is I want you to calculate the current revenue per hour. We're going to get into what that is and how. Your average patient spend, retention, and then looking at these things and how do we improve going into Q4. If we do not know these things, you guys, it's a huge problem. And again, your area to grow exponentially. Revenue optimization. This is really critical. So we talked about the 7 pillars that we use in our framework and how we help practices become more efficient, more profitable. Well, people have revenue blindness. And why? Well, I say the phrase and I say it often. Being busy doesn't mean being profitable. So if we're only focusing on revenue, we're not looking at true performance, meaning, right? How are we measuring success? How are we looking at, again, our services, our gross profit of those services, efficiency in the room, retention, okay? So we talked, right? So I want you to look at your pricing strategies. I want you to look at your service mix diversification. I want you to look at your gross profit of those procedures. And are you spending money and time in marketing in those treatments that can yield you the highest return? Okay. Revenue versus cash. Okay. This is a whole big conversation. People operate on accrual. They operate on cash. We really want to make sure, especially with RepeatMD and memberships and tech and software, are we recognizing revenue accurately so that your books and your P&L are being accounted for in the right way? And then your productive revenue per hour. You guys, this is really important. This is looking at, okay, so I always talk about, what do we sell? We actually sell time. So there's only so many hours in a day, so many rooms that you have, so many hands to do treatments, okay? So your productive hours are the hours physically seeing patients. And then what is the revenue that's being performed on those services against what the benchmark should be? And I know you guys, I'm literally giving away so much in this presentation. It's crazy, but I want you guys to have a foundation of what these benchmarks should be, because I promise you, this is what we do. This is what I teach every day, all the time. And this is what I constantly hear, Terri, I don't know. My team isn't trained, or I don't know these numbers. Okay. And people are trying to do it on your own. And that's sort of a setup for failure, because you're wasting time and money. Take a picture of this. It's super important. This is where your baseline needs to be. So if you're a surgeon, 3,000 to 4,000 plus an hour. If you're a physician doing non-surgical things, you see this 1,000 to 1,600. An extender, an NP or a PA. Thanks, guys. I need my caffeine. 800 to 1,400. You see, RN 600 to 1,000 plus. I live in California. Estheticians, there's laws in different states of who can perform what. 450 to 800 if you're doing medical procedures. And if you're only doing esthetician services, 250 to 500. Now, look, you guys, these numbers are not to be airy fairy. This is your gold standard. This is the baseline. This is what your rooms need to be generating. So when I ask practices, do you have KPIs tied to roles? Some say yes. And then I say, well, what are they? And then they're like, I don't know. Okay. So, and it's a top-down approach. So if you're an owner, a provider on this call, we really have to make sure that we are having transparent conversations with our team to say, hey, Mary, right? Your productivity is 700 an hour and it really should be at 1,000. Why are we below where we need to be? You guys, it's not hard to move the needle when you actually know what you're looking at. And then you can train, right, to affect the change. So what are the key KPIs for 2026? There's so many to look at, okay? But I want to look at our top line revenue for your practice. If you have multiple locations, by provider, by service category, you guys, that's 4 things we need to look at. Your direct profit, okay, for each service and your service category. And what I mean by that is your injectables, body contouring, laser skin resurfacing, vaginal rejuvenation, whatever it is. We have to segment out our services. Looking at your revenue per hour, you guys see, this is so much stuff. But I promise you, this, and again, this is the humbling part. When people retain us, the first thing we do is audit your business. I mean, we uncover the health of the practice. This is how we find the leaks, right? And show you where there's hundreds of thousands of dollars, candidly, for most people left on the table, okay? Because we're not looking at these data points. So let's talk about compensation. This is a huge pain point for everybody. They ask us and our team, Terri, how do we pay? How, right? Well, we have guidelines. We know what we should tell you to pay. But then the question I have for you is, what can your business afford to pay? Okay, it's a very different conversation. So when we're looking at key tips and success tips, your comp plans, you guys, and I get it. If you've been paying your team a certain way, it's really difficult to change. But I promise you, and it's not necessarily an easy lift, I don't want you to be losing money. So if we said that payroll should be under 30% on your P&L and cost of labor under 20, and then we went through cost of goods and marketing, but like, you have to live by that. Your P&L should be what you look at every month for 30 minutes. And you're like, I'm up, I'm down, I'm good, I'm bad, shift this, do that. It should be like that. And it's a very empowering message and ability when you can look at that data and make a decision. But compensation needs to be in alignment with your goals, motivating for your team. And there's a way to pay. Look, I'm not here to judge. I'm not a lawyer, but paying commission on medical procedures in some states isn't necessarily legal. Now, there's a way to pay though, you guys, where we're looking at creating SMART goals and then making sure that there's a base wage. Okay, look at bullet 4 under compensation. And we build comp models, by the way, guys, if you're struggling with this, but looking at your base wage with a bonus, like a tiered, if you're a provider, a tiered bonus structure based on, again, productivity and time and efficiency. And this is super powerful. Then your team is all in alignment. And then if we're looking at accountability, every month, we're tracking to the data. Now that you know what KPIs and benchmarks to measure, we're sitting down and having an intellectual conversation with our team. We're saying, are we up or are we down? And then if training is an issue, and you guys, this is what happened in the last company. It's one thing to know the KPIs, but if your team isn't trained to do it, meaning, and we'll get into the team training, that is where the foundation of your business should lie. Is my team trained? Where's the budget allocation? What KPIs are they held to? And how do I hold them accountable? And then if they're not hitting it, I hate to say it, what are the repercussions or the consequences or the coaching tied to that? So again, comp benchmarks. Most practices overpay. They overpay because they just don't know, or they don't know where to go to get a comp plan. And so again, we want you guys to have a structure that is sustainable, that is in alignment with your goals, that's fair, and that drives, candidly, really good behaviors. So if you look at Q4 action, I want you to go back and look at your P&L. Make sure that you're under the 20% labor and 10% support staff. Okay, these are big numbers for you guys. Again, when we're thinking about goals and benchmarks, I just gave you some. I'm going to give you more. Truly, you guys, I'm giving you the gold here. But now what's going to happen is, what are you going to do when you get off this call? You guys, I have to just tell you something funny. There's a client of mine, and she sent me a picture of my sales training manual and the 4S Summit, and it was next to her husband's bed. She goes, "You're the only girl's face that I would allow in our bedroom." I thought that was cute and funny. But you guys, this is really important that you guys are going to go back and look at these and align it with each individual person within the organization. So what do I want you to look at? There's patient acquisition and retention. There's a cost to that, which we'll get into. So qualified leads to consult, that's one metric. I want it to be 70%. Consults to conversions, equally 70%. Again, revenue per hour, depending on if you're an esthetician or a doctor or a surgeon, it's going to vary. You see what I gave you, $250 on the low end, upwards of $3,000, $4,000 if you're a surgeon. But in a med spa, this is about right. Your cross-selling, I don't even like the word. I know Jeremy just talked about RepeatMD's new features and functions coming out, and treatment plans. That's the word I like to use because that's what I teach. And you guys know that selling is a transfer of emotions. So people that struggle as a medical provider, right, in a practice, it's hard. Right. And look, the sad part is about this industry, and it drives me crazy. I saw a billboard and it was like boob jobs for $4,000. I'm like, when did this industry become so saturated and then become so price conscious? I'm in Los Angeles. I get it. It's expensive, but you guys got to decide, are we the Lamborghini? Are we the Neiman Marcus? Are we the Porsche? Or are we the Target and Macy's? And it doesn't matter to me. You guys, there's room and clients for everyone, but we got to stay in our lane. But more importantly, there's no room to make mistakes when there are more businesses opening up. Again, it's a very saturated space. People are spending less money. They're shopping around, right? They want a discount. They want a deal. We can't run a business like that. And you guys have the power to control that and say, wait a minute, that is not what my business philosophy is, and I'm going to do it differently. So you guys can see average revenue by surgery days, production hours, average spend. You guys, this is the med spa and came out of AM Spa, and it's really low, 550. This is just terrible. Profitability, consult to booking rate. So you can see these numbers. Please take a picture of this. I'm not even going to read this slide, but as I mentioned, I was just with a private equity group in Florida, training 150 people. And I share this with you guys because this isn't about me trying to sell, services that we offer. It's really about you guys, really recognizing where your strengths are and where there's opportunities and what you're willing to do to get there. Like, if we talked about the top of a mountain and the legacy that you want, where are the gaps and what do we need to close it and fix it? And so just showing you guys some of these success stories are just really impactful. These are surgeons, Ashley Gordon and Dustin Reed in Austin. And you can see, they've been with us for, over about 2 years. But you guys can see that when we're able to audit a business, we find the holes and can help you increase revenue substantially. Julie, you guys can see increased package sales, 124%. It's really based on, again, you saying, you know what, I don't listen to phone calls. I've never sat in on a consultation. I'm not that great at doing treatment plans. My P&L, it's kind of a mess. My data and my software isn't set up the right way. My pricing strategy is wrong, or we constantly do discounts. Because I could go on and on and on, because we've been doing this for 20 years and we hear the same stuff all the time. And again, the purpose and the intention behind this presentation is so that I can give you information that I hope is empowering for you, that you can go back and actually do something with. So look, again, RepeatMD is fantastic, right? But how are we acquiring patients? What's the vertical that they come in? What is your cost of acquisition? And then what is your conversion metric? So I just said 70%. You guys got to go figure it out. And if it's below it, then what happens next is you need to say, okay, is it a training problem? Is my team not trained to answer the phone, qualify, credential, get to know them, handle objections, overcome them, talk about your process, talk about your consult fee, talk about the cancellation fee, talk about the memberships. Like they have to do so much and you're like, oh God, shit, it's a lot. And then when the patient comes in, what's the patient journey? What is the patient experience? If I'm with a provider, am I getting a treatment plan? Am I rolled up into RepeatMD? Like what is the percent of utilization? There's so many things, you guys are, I hope you guys are like, oh my God, here. It's a lot. So speed to lead matters. Again, there's the success tips at the bottom. Within 5 to 10%, or excuse me, 5 to 10 minutes of leads, looking at the conversion rates around 70%. And how do we retain people? I mean, again, RepeatMD has phenomenal technology to get people in. Now, what Jeremy just rolled out, it's going to be helping with retail sales and retention and treatment plans. I think they have like some pricing built in there. But what I want you guys to look at beyond that, and everybody's going to start doing, you guys, parties and promotions and holidays and this and that. And look, there's nothing wrong with it. If you've mastered it, great. There's people that make a lot of money, but we can't be like everyone else, right? We can't worry about what our competition's doing, but we do need to start planning now. If you plan on having an event, again, what is the strategy behind it? What are you selling? How much money do you want to make? Who's the team that's going to be there, right? To pull it through and sell it, not just the reps. What treatments are you going to be selling? Are they the most productive services yielding that highest return? What are your patient referrals? What is your retention? Sometimes it's these little tiny things that you're like, God, I don't even know. I want you to spend less, right, to get more. So if we're looking at retention, you guys, it's more expensive, as you guys know, to acquire a patient than to nurture the ones you have. Existing patients will spend more money with you, okay? And if we increase retention by 5%, it's a 25% increase in profitability. So again, a great time. You guys, there's no better time. And I get it. Like I said, I'm not here to help you play the game. I'm here, right, as your supporter, as your coach, as your consultant, as your friend, as your confidant. I'm here to help you recognize where you have opportunity, okay? Otherwise, we're all just going to be like everybody else, fighting for the same sea of shit, the same procedures, the same stuff, the same people, the same, we won't get very far. So the sustainability of businesses, and we know consolidation is here. It's happening. Whether you plan to sell, want to sell, don't have a desire to sell, 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, I don't care. We want to help you have financial stability, sustainability. You know your numbers, you know your KPIs, your teams are trained, you have diversification, and your EBITDA is so high that the multiples you're going to get are like exponential. That is our intention for you. And so when we look at acquisition cost, you guys, it can be expensive. It's expensive. So I want you to just do simple math. How many leads come in a month? What are your acquisition costs compared to your conversion numbers? And then you got to say, all right, team, we got to talk, right? I didn't know we were trailing at 40%. And then again, looking at the other benchmarks, your conversion rates, your retention, your memberships, the utilization, the lifetime value. Team development, such a big one. And many of you guys know, I started my own conference called the 4S Summit to even solve the problem about aesthetic practices as a whole, by the way, really having a lack of education. And so Your team, greatest asset, biggest expense. And, what are we doing to invest back in them? Whether, again, it's your front desk, your patient concierge, your managers, your patient care coordinators, your providers, your owners. There is a KPI and a training for everybody. But I promise you, if we want to reduce turnover, have high retention, and increase our culture of trust and accountability and work-life balance with the growth mindset, we want to set your team up for success. And that's giving them, you guys, the training and the tools and the potential and the opportunity to be able to do that for you. This is some standards of, I've been training so much. Sometimes conversion rates are low, and post-training, they're going to increase exponentially because you guys have a framework. We see an increase in revenue per hour within the first 90 days. And if we're looking at raising revenue per hour from that baseline I told you to get, you guys, practices have grown millions of dollars. Okay. Staff training also yields higher retention, 30 to 40%. As I mentioned, just a small increase of 5% can add significant percent to the bottom line. And then your team's trained in I hate package selling or memberships. And this is, again, where RepeatMD does a great job. But with memberships, they're going to spend 2 to 3 times more money. Okay, let's look at our ops and our systems and our tech stack. This is now becoming crazy, right? You have your practice management software, you might have your EMR, and then you have your CRM, and then you have phone call tracking, and then you have memberships. It's a lot. And then we're not using it to its fullest capacity. But what I want to impress upon in this conversation is, you guys, again, we're looking at standardization. We're looking at your workflows. So I want you to think about what we've been talking about. Is your software set up right? Meaning your consultations, your numbing, your time, your follow-up, your procedures. We can fix it by looking at efficiencies. Looking at, again, your KPIs per provider. Are you leveraging AI and automations? Now, I'm not saying push everything to AI. This is still a human business. But looking at what's working and what's not, and giving it the credence it needs. If there's some things to fix, so that you're going into the last half of this year and the next. And so these are operational KPIs. Okay, we've went through a lot of sales training KPIs, financial KPIs, but from an ops perspective. Okay, so I hope you guys are writing this down. You're going to be like, oh my gosh. We talked about it. Conversions, lead to consult, consult to close. Yeah, got it. It's the easiest way to say it. Your no-show, cancellation rate. That's typically because people are not charging for a consultation. If you guys can see me, I always talk about this book. Someone has to be the most expensive. Why not make it you? We're in aesthetics. It's expensive treatments. You're worth it. Your perception is worth it. People don't value things for free. That's a whole nother talk I give. We're looking at provider productivity. We want providers to be at around 70% utilization. And if not, why not? You guys do you see how this is we could sit here and have an intellectual conversation about where you're at and where you need to be, and then how do we fix it? And then patient satisfaction. Again, thinking about from an efficiency standpoint, is your data fragmented, or do you feel really good that you're able to run reports and have morning huddles and monthly meetings on the data? Your, again, membership and reward platforms, we know it drives more money, but you guys got to remember that when that revenue is sitting, it's unearned income. Okay, so it's on the balance sheet because those people may not have come in to get those treatments yet. And again, our provider utilization, we can check, are your people working at 30%, 50%, 80%? If it's below 70 or 80, we got room to move, and we have to figure out why. Are people not coming back? We're not doing a treatment plan. The average spend is too low. Our retention's not where it needs to be. I don't know. But if we talked about revenue optimization, back to you guys, the core foundation of sales training is that we have to master the consultation. Because when you do that, you're going to increase revenue potential by each person. And that part just takes time and practice. What are some of the things that you guys can do? Some of it seems a little silly. Sure, I want you to always be pre-booking appointments, whether it's the next appointment, getting them into next year. If you plan to raise the prices, let people pre-buy now before next year. I want you to audit your SOPs, standard operating procedures. I want you to look at your patient journey in every step. I want you to map out your consultation process. I want you to map out your follow-up process. I want you to analyze the KPIs. It's a lot, I know. Again, we're so blessed to be able to do what we do and to help support you guys. And then again, go look at your financial benchmarks against your full capacity. I was talking to a practice. They had 7 rooms and maybe doing $1.5 million. Now, I don't know what your faces look like, but look, and we get this all the time, right? And they needed help, right? You need, some people just need help, whether it's a training thing, again, auditing the business, but wherever you guys are, I want you to think about your business, like I said, as a whole. Break it apart, think about your business. Again, the number of rooms, the hours available to sell. We sell time. When it's gone, it's gone. And are we maximizing the time? And then is your forecast, like, can you make 10 million, 4 million? What's your max capacity out of your location? And that's how we build the forecast and what we're striving for, which leads right into market readiness. Like I said, you guys, consolidations here, whether you want it, you don't, you're ready for it, you're not. We treat it as we are going to get your business so tight and ready that whenever that time comes, you are literally selling it for the highest multiples that you possibly can versus feeling frazzled, right? And you're like, my business is kind of a shit show, for lack of better words, or I'm suffering in this area. And there's a lot of areas. You guys, I showed you that 7-step framework. It is overwhelming when you know what you know, and you know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? So how are we staying up with trends? I'm going to give you this a great example. GLP-1s. Look, now they're taking over. I mean, people look extraordinary. You can't even recognize some people. But what happens is people are coming into practices offering GLP-1s. Those patients need injectables, skin tightening, right? Body contouring. They're going to need a whole bunch of stuff because they're losing so much weight, but we don't do a treatment plan. So then what happens? Well, that's not what they came in for. They don't want it. Well, you guys, that's money you acquired for a person to come in. And then why are we not maximizing revenue potential? And it happens a lot where some private equity groups or other business groups, they're like, we don't want you because you haven't been focusing on the right things. That's just one silly little example. So if you guys go back and challenge what I asked you to do, right, the process, you're going to be like, all right, where are my numbers against what Terri's benchmarks need to be? And I want to open it up for questions, you guys. When we think about long-term success, and that was the whole intention behind this, that we're not waiting until December and then you're going into January, or, again, I talk to people and they're like, Terri, I have all these challenges, but I'm going to wait for a new manager, or it's been slow in the summer and I'm going to wait. Wait for what, guys? Like, what are we waiting for? I don't want you to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars because you want to have a conversation in 3 months from now. Okay. It is an investment into finding the areas of opportunity in your business, again, that can yield these huge results. But you have to be a person who is saying to yourself, right, I'm great here and I'm not great in these other areas. And so how do we set you up for going into Q4? Okay. I hope to God you guys are super pumped up, because I get off these calls and I'm like, I'm so excited. And then you guys are DMing me and I want to hear where you guys are at. Like, I'm here to support you. My entire team is here to support you. And then you're stuck, right? I want to hear where you guys are at and how we can help fix it. Look at your marketing calendar, look at your leadership board, look at your roadmap, look at your KPIs. And this is what you have to do. This is the recap. I know it was a lot of stuff. I'm going to say it quick. revenue optimization. I need you to look at your P&L, look at the cost of goods, look at your pricing, look at the time. We sell time. That's for an efficiency. Look at your team against the KPIs I said. Okay. Have you invested in training? Are you doing the right services that yield the highest gross profit? Is your retention where it needs to be? That's happy people. Is my revenue per hour where it needs to be? Oh my God. You guys could go on and on and on. I'm sure you guys are like, oh my God, my head is spinning. Shit. And I hope you guys are. This is it. This is when the rubber meets the road. And this is when you go from that, and I'm not saying you are, some place of constant. And constant's fine if you're okay with that, right? If you're okay with status quo, that's cool. I'm not here to judge. I want you to go from that though and go, okay, wait a minute. She opened my eyes to all these things. And what if, right? What if this was possible? So you guys scan this code. It's a quick 15-point financial checklist. And I want to hear from you. Like I really want you to be, I asked you the 3, 2, 1. The only way we can be together, and you guys know it's Terri's tribe, collectively as a team, and to support each other in this industry as colleagues, is to say, okay, again, where am I strong? Where am I weak? Where do I need help? I'll keep that up for a few more minutes and go back to it. And then what is our checklist? Okay. Again, you guys are probably like, Jesus Christ, she gave me so many things. Sorry for that. It's at the end. Remember that 3, 2, 1. I want you to not be overwhelmed by this webinar. I tend to give so much because that's just who I am. I want to make sure you guys feel confident and prepared and capable that you guys can do it. I want you to feel like, and I always say, I'm not here to motivate you at all, although I hope I do. I'm really here to inspire you to take action. Like, the not taking action isn't really acceptable. We got to do something about it if you want a different return, right? If you want something different. So we're going to map out the goals. You're going to look at all those 10 points I just gave you. You're going to be booking into next year. You're going to work on RepeatMD, having this recurring revenue, automate some things to improve efficiencies, evaluate your tech stack. And you guys, we got to finish strong. We are hearing, look, there's some practices thriving, right? But many are not. Okay. So as we think about what you're going to do when you get off this call, what is the one thing? I know I asked you the 3, 2, 1. 3 things that you learned. I'd love to hear from you guys. 2 you can do within 30 days. And 1 thing that literally tomorrow you can implement right away. I'm really excited about this. I know I talked to Phil about this, and we work in 3 ways. And I'm sharing this because it's a silly thing. People have said, Terri, how do I work with you? Can you be a mentor? And I launched this at the Medical Spa Show in April. And we work together, as I mentioned, you guys. People want us, they retain us to audit the business and to be their consultant. But I really wanted to give you something that I thought was like literally some stupid no-brainer. It is a 90-minute call with me or my team every single month. You have access to the 7 past calls and proven frameworks, tools, downloadable assets like our tribe. And I made it literally less than 1 area of Botox. And it's almost a little bit sad for me that it's so low, but what I did it because I really wanted to build this network of a community for you that you felt you had a place to go to. And again, with experts, and this is what you get. Again, you guys, a 90-minute call, planners and templates and scripts, on-demand courses from past calls, access to our store. There's a ton of stuff on my website and stuff that we sell on the store that is really valuable. But this was for you. I would love to see you in it. The next call's, and I believe in about 2 weeks, and 50% off your first month. So this is an opportunity, you guys, for you, if you're on this call and you're like, God, I do really need some level of support. I don't know what that is. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to see you in the tribe. And if you want more, if you're like, shit, I don't know, I'm really not where I need to be, and maybe I want to have a discovery call with someone on my team. You guys know that these calls are always intended for us to learn about you and where you're stuck, where are your challenges, and then how we can best support you. So I am going to drop the mic. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity. I'm going to end the show, and then I believe we can open it up for questions. Cheers.
Hey, Terri. I'm going to jump back in here real quick while people are asking questions. Guys, type out your questions, submit them through Q&A or in the chat, and we'll get those answered. While we're talking about questions and typing those up, real quick, I just wanted to let everyone know who wasn't, who didn't join us right at the beginning, who came a little bit late. Terri, would you mind if I share my screen real quick?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, let me stop sharing for sure.
All good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. And folks, just a little bit about this. I talked about this at the beginning, but something very, very exciting that I wanted to share, y'all, coming from RepeatMD. First and foremost, Terri, thank you for this. You're such a industry powerhouse when it comes to, all the knowledge that you offer to our clients that join us every week and every month. So thank you for this. But real quick, for our Sell More This Holiday Season webinar that we have coming up in October. So it's going to be on Tuesday, October 21st at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific time. It's our biggest event of the year, folks. And today is actually the very first day you can register. So secure your spot. It's going to be very exciting. You're going to learn how to do, lots of things like avoid the 5 profit killers that destroy holiday revenue, turn gift cards and skincare into your #1 revenue driver, steal the top holiday promos that print money fast, and also doubling your membership sales in 30 days. And guys, it took us 2 years and $20 million for this big secret project, RepeatMD V3. It's going to be the very first system built to actually automate your revenue, guys. So that way you guys can sell more without doing more. The best part, guys, not only are you going to learn all this great stuff, but if you're on there and you join us, you're entered to win automatically. You get entered to win $100,000 in cash plus $50,000 in surprise bonuses. So if that all sounds amazing to you guys, scan that QR code, guys, get registered, and we're going to see you on October 21st. So just want to make sure that you guys had a moment to get in there, registered, all that stuff. I see we have some questions coming in, so I'm going to give it back to you, Terri, but I'll hang out here with you to answer questions, okay?
Yes, amazing, for sure, honey.
Sweet.
Sweet, sweet.
Okay.
I can't see the questions, Jeremy, so
I got them. So here, I'm going to share it as a comment. That way I can share it on the screen.
Okay,
Let's
perfect.
See. There it goes. Maybe. No. Hold on. Having some trouble here. All the messages are loading in fast. Okay. Let's see. I'm a single provider business and I am stuck on how to grow my practice and scale. Are there 1 or 2 things I can implement now that will help me grow? I'm getting better at tracking my profit and loss, but need more direction. I was trained in medical, not business. LOL.
God, I'd have a couple questions. And okay, so I'd ask, how long has she been an aesthetic provider? 1. What services is she doing? Okay, so if she took those, if you take the KPIs I just gave you, so if you're doing injectables, cost of goods are high. Obviously, that's what people want, but there's a loss leader when it comes to things like Botox. So I would ask you to think about where you live, and oh my God, the balloons, right? Where do you live? How much space do you have? What treatments are you doing now? Are they higher than a 60% gross profit? Okay, if they're not, I want you to change your mix of services, and then back to your value proposition. Why would people come to you? And you got to do it better and be better than everyone else. But I promise you, we have tons of solopreneurs that have been in your shoes. And if you really just take a step back, right, and analyze some of the things I just said, I promise you will be very successful.
There we go. Great. Natalie, I hope that helped.
Yeah.
Terri, amazing.
And Nat, you can DM me, Terri Ross Consulting. You guys can DM me. I'm happy to continue to answer questions too.
Let's see. Stop sharing. There we go.
All right, Terri, what's the main CRM you prefer? Oh my God, Justin, is this Justin? Look, this is such a loaded question because everybody has, there's some practice management systems that have like go high level, white labeled. There's other CRMs, I think, right? I don't think there's one, there's Podium that has phone call tracking. I know RepeatMD has to, I don't know, Justin, that there is one specific thing. I think I'd say to you, let me know what your tech stack is first, okay? And then I might be able to guide you better, because what I don't want you to do is have duplication. But if you don't have a CRM and then they're coming in by the website and then by the membership and then by the software, and then the point is we want to pull them into one CRM so that you can listen to calls, look at speed to lead, okay? And then look at conversion time.
Sweet. All right. And next question from Letitia.
Do you have any advice on reclaiming patients who have used another platform for GLP-1s? Okay, Letitia, I'm assuming that you're saying that they're getting GLP-1s from someone else. If that's the case, and then they still see you for general care, well, I would say this: general care, like based on medical stuff, or general care based on non-surgical things. So I'm going to show you guys. I just did trainings like literally all morning. Okay. So one, when I kept saying that you have to invest in training, again, not meant to be self-serving, you guys, but I got to tell you, like, this is my sales training curriculum. Like, it's like school, like it's big. And if anyone's on this call and it relates to RepeatMD and Phil and memberships and putting treatments together, we have to do treatment plans. Okay. It's like not optional. You have to have a cosmetic interest questionnaire. You have to have a treatment plan. If you have RepeatMD and it's built in there, great. However you need to do it is pretty critical. So you have to change your philosophy as a business to say, we're not transactional, right? That's never going to get you very far. Meaning somebody's coming in for the one syringe, the Botox, the one laser, right? They're coming in. So if they're coming in for GLP-1s, you have to say, great, Leticia's right. So happy to be here. You know, the philosophy we take at ABC Aesthetics is we take a comprehensive approach, right? And what that means for you is that we want you to have the best outcomes in an effort to get the best outcome that is going to require, once you're on GLP-1s, you know what I mean? Where you're educating other things that are going to happen. So I'm educated and I'm informed that you're not really selling me on other things. You know, that's a long-winded answer, honey, but we got to change the philosophy of letting them come in for just those one or two things and mastering the consult.
All right. Let's see. Next question from Stephanie.
Oh, hey, Steph. She's in my mentorship. Hi, honey. I love it. What if the next step, if I already joined the online every month, right? And I want to keep track of my KPIs, what's your recommendation? Oh, I love it. You want private training with me? Yes, I love you, girl. And, this is a loaded question if anybody's answering. So Stephanie, call me. So that last slide was a discovery call with me or someone on my team. Okay. And what that looks like is we just, like I said, we talk about the health of your practice. And this goes for anybody, you guys, is it right? We talk about where your challenges are. And most people, I promise you on the discovery form, they say the same thing. They're suffering with KPIs. They're suffering with finances. They're suffering with training. They're suffering with conversions. It is, swear to God, you guys, it is literally the same. So the question I'd ask is, what's the commitment you have? So we do private coaching, 6 or 12 months. Okay. Or we can audit your business if you're not ready. So Steph, just call me, honey, and we can figure it out. Can't wait.
There we go. 2 more while we have 1 more minute. Let's get these last 2 in.
Jay, I think we have the wrong EMR. Yes. What are your top 3? Ideally integrated. Well, I'm going to let Jeremy talk about the integration with RepeatMD. I don't know about that. Look, guys, so people ask me this all the time. It depends on your business model. I'm going to say a couple I like: Zenoti, Boulevard, Simplast. Look, guys, here's what I would say about the systems. It's garbage in, garbage out. Okay. So whatever you get, I would say do your due diligence. I gave you 3 that I like. There's a couple other ones on the market too. And then Jeremy, if you want to comment, but make sure that it can function with what you need. And that candidly, I'm telling you, we help fix more systems after the fact so that what you're putting in is working. And Jeremy, do you want to comment? I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
do.
definitely. Jay, good to see you again. He's a frequent visitor.
Oh,
Just so you know, RepeatMD, we integrate with Zenoti. We're integrating with, we already integrate with Aesthetic Record. There's a couple others that we're working on, but those are the main two right now that we have integrations actively with.
and you guys, I
Now,
think, sorry, Jeremy, I would comment. Some people really get hung up on like, oh, I need an integration, need an integration. You guys, it's not necessarily true if you're using them in the right way.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And yeah, we have guides that we can help you with if you have someone outside of those two, right? As we work on building our integrations. Brian, I just noticed your comment. Do we integrate with Boulevard? No, we do not. We've been actively trying, but it's not always a two-way street. So we'll keep trying with them, and who knows, in the future we possibly will. And then I saw another question come in here from Hanan. Does RepeatMD offer treatment plans on the platform? Well, yes, in a couple different ways. So you can have a package, like treatment plan built into a package that anyone can purchase anytime on your app, but also there's custom treatment plans. So if you're building a treatment plan specifically for the patient, that patient that you're meeting with, consulting with, well, you can use a custom treatment plan and build it custom to them. They'll get it texted to their phone directly. That way they can click on it, open it up, buy it, affirm it, whatever, right? So it's very, very easy. If you need more information about custom treatment plans, go in the help center. You can look it up there or contact your client success specialist.
You guys, that's a great question. Look, at me and Phil go way back. We have talked about this concept for so long. And I think this is why our partnership has been so great, that we believe in this philosophy. And you guys, whether you're using RepeatMD, but that is where the rubber meets the road for real, right? Not just the KPIs, but when you are able to, and again, not just put things together, right, for the hell of it, right? But because you actually believe that putting these treatments together will augment someone's outcome, it just automatically yields a higher return, better outcomes, happy patients, higher retention and lifetime value, and you make more money and everybody wins. So thank you, Jeremy and Elise and everybody at RepeatMD for hosting this beautiful webinar and giving me, again, the floor to do what I love to do. And thank you to every single person who took the time out of your busy day to be here for something really important. Again, don't hesitate, reach out, DM me, whatever. And I want to hear from you guys or see you in the mentorship.
Thank you, Terri.